It may not be coincidental that November is Diabetes Awareness Month, as the holidays from Thanksgiving through the New Year pose the greatest challenge for those with diabetes. Well, here to give us some tips and advice to those wanting to enjoy the holiday season without worrying about the effect it'll have on their body is Dr. Chelsea Gordner, Director of Inpatient Diabetes at Baystate Medical Center. Thanks so much for joining us today. So, talking about diabetes, how important is this for those with diabetes coming into the holiday season?
Well, it is a struggle, as are, some of the other holidays, Halloween, Easter. But here we've got two back-to-back with Thanksgiving and Christmas. And people do tend to overeat and overindulge. And that can wreak havoc with their diabetes. Blood sugars do tend to go up after big meals. And so you just have to be more careful about your food intake and try to maintain the healthy habits you have established through the year with exercise.
Now, understanding diabetes, the body doesn't produce enough insulin, correct? And that helps convert the foods into energy to almost be able to do your daily activities. So that means they should probably stay clear of anything loaded with a lot of sugars.
It's a very good point. There are kind of two different types of diabetes. Type 1 diabetes, your body does not make insulin.
Okay.
Tends to occur in younger people.
Okay.
Type 2 diabetes is where your body is resistant to the insulin. So those people tend to have higher insulin levels, but the body doesn't respond to it. In both scenarios, the blood sugars go up, and that's when diabetes occurs. And so you're absolutely right. You have to be careful about when you're consuming a lot of sugars and carbohydrates.
So what are some advice? Somebody's getting ready to go to a Christmas party and there's probably going to be a lot of sugar-laden foods or drinks there. What are some tips that they can kind of keep in mind as they're getting ready to go out into a holiday dinner?
It's a great point. I mean, there's a lot of things that you can do. You could bring, a dish to share, a healthy dish. One good idea is to not go to the party starving. Because you would tend to overindulge. Try to make sure that you eat breakfast and lunch before the dinner meal so that you're not overeating at the dinner meal. And then try to load up on the vegetables and things like turkey, which is lower in fat and doesn't have any carbohydrates. And you should have the dessert that you want, but try to pick your favorite and try to stick with smaller portions.
Now, you work with not just adults, but also children, and that's got to be more of a struggle for kids around the holiday season. They see all their friends eating all the junk food, and they want to have the treats and the snacks too. And how can you help kids kind of realize, okay, well, you've got to be careful what you eat because it can affect your diabetes? Like, what are some ways you can help the kids?
Well, we do rely on the parents a lot to help the kids make healthy food choices. And we do talk to them at every visit about healthy food choices and allow them to learn for themselves, eat this, not that. And we try to target the amount of medication that they're going to receive based on the amount of food that they're going to consume. So that helps.
Okay. And one of the tips you had mentioned to me was drink a lot of water, which you think in general drinking water is good for you. But in this case, it helps dilute the sugar. So talk about the importance of water, a simple necessity. Who would think H2O could be such a help to someone? But it truly is a very important factor in this.
That's a very good point. When you eat carbohydrates or sugars, the blood sugars do go up. And so the insulin medications helps lower the blood sugar, but water also can help dilute out the sugar, as you mentioned. And so staying well hydrated and trying to avoid high sugar containing beverages like juice, soda, eggnog, that will help. It will help prevent the blood sugar spike after the meal.
And then last but not least, if possible, do maybe a little exercise after the meal. Now, that doesn't mean, go to the gym right after you're done eating Christmas dinner with the family, but what are some simple tips that people can do or simple exercises people can do to kind of get their bodies moving after a good meal?
That's another good point. Studies have shown that if you're able to take a short walk after a meal, it helps to stabilize the blood sugar. So 30 minutes after the meal, if you're able to go walk for 15 minutes or so, that will definitely help stabilize the blood sugars and prevent the blood sugars from spiking after the meal.
And are there any holiday foods you can think of that are probably the worst ones to stay away from? And then also on the flip side, what are some really good, like you mentioned turkey, really good holiday foods to try to stick around?
The worst holiday foods are probably the high starch and high fat and high sugar foods. So the desserts, pecan pie, the desserts really have a high amount of sugar in them and can make the blood sugars go up significantly after the meal. That being said, a lot of the starches in the meal as well. So the stuffing, the mashed potatoes, we all love them, but unfortunately it does make the blood sugars go up. So if you're able to balance that with a double serving of vegetables, a double serving of turkey, that does help stabilize things a little bit.
All right, great. Thank you so much, Dr. Chelsea Gordner from Baystate, for all your advice.
Thank you.